Hello, welcome to Chapter 11 of the supplemental edition for Journey to Shalom by Molly LaCroix, and this is the conclusion of this book study, at least for this time, and this supplemental edition. Thanks for your persistence and perseverance and hanging in there. This one's going to be a shorter recap, but wanted to bring this around to your sacred story. And there's some really good nuggets in this chapter that lots of highlighting. I had more in this chapter than all the other chapters. But so I'll just start by really recapping the framework, but this is really some underlying principles that guide the internal family systems theory that are not inherently Christian, but intersect, or Christianity intersects with them. Obviously, it came first before IFS, but it really draws out the foundational principles that we use. So Richard Rohr writes, the energy in the universe is not in the planets or in the protons or the neurons, but in the relationship between them. And the energy that we call love flows between God, our parent, God, our friend, and God, our holy witness. And in our internal family, it's the power of protection or connection that flows between the parts of us, which influences then what flows out of us. And as you can imagine, then that state determines how God can flow through us and even to us. So looking at the relationship that we have with ourselves will change the relationship we have with God, will change the relationship we have with others. And the power that flows between the creator, revealer, and presence of love is the same power unleashed in the creative process. Whether galaxies are forming, cells are dividing, or relational brokenness is healing, it is the power for infinite renewal. The incomparably great power that brings life from death. It is the power Jesus proclaimed when he said, "The kingdom of God has come near to you," as he healed physical and emotional wounds. And she goes on to quote people, it is well-being that exists in the very midst of threats. It is the very places where people always have to cope with anxiety, struggle for survival, and deal with temptation. It is well-being of a very personal kind, but is also deliberately corporate. That's a definition for shalom. Shalom is well-being that coexists alongside the struggles. And healing happens because we increasingly lead our internal family with a harmonious blend of regeneration and protection, self and spirit. The most radical contribution of the IFS world that everyone has a self, a restorative side of their psychological system, a leader that is undamaged even by the wounds that exist in the same system, a leader that is untethered, unattached to the meanings that our protectors have made. This is a profoundly biblical truth that everyone bears God's image. This is the image of God that was not removed from us when we were removed from the garden. We have God given resources, no matter our life experiences. And God has placed love in us so that we could find Him wherever we go, and so that we could make Him accessible to the world around us. And she leads us in a practice about meditating on God's love, but I'm going to suggest to you that we need to do more unlearning around love before we can really grasp these concepts in this chapter. And there's lots of unlearning that we need to practice. Stay curious about the one that might be coming forward to your mind. Or rather than taking 2 Corinthians 13, and using that as like a label, what if you were to just take some time to actually honestly sit down and meditate on what love has been like for you? Not what you think it should be or ought to be, but just what love has been. Maybe even what you believe it to be. And give your protectors the grace to just be real and be honest about this idea. They could comply, and they could allow some good feelings to make it to these exiles who are starved with love. But it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what they're experiencing. So my invitation is for you to give room to your doubts, to your complaints about love, about God, even about this word self. What have you been taught? What have you learned? What meanings have you made? And as much as you're able to be honest about that, in the next phase of it, you would consider, do you still believe that? Is that still your experience? Is that serving you well? As humans, we don't get automatic updates like our phones do. There's no one to automatically reprogram us. So a lot of these beliefs are outdated because we don't take the time to contemplate. We layer over the top of. We learn new things, and we hope that the new thing is going to be more powerful than the old thing, which is a gross misperception of humans. And as you reflect and evaluate what love is, what is the meaning of self, or even who God is, ask your protectors to allow even just a little bit, however much they are willing, allow you to imagine to hope, to even dream about what it could be. What if love was like 1 Corinthians? Allow yourself to imagine and hope. And what would that mean for you? What choices would you make? How would you conduct your daily life? This is a process that really can't be rushed, but I recommend coming back to it very frequently because the old is much more powerful in the human psyche than the new. And as you work through what I call unlearning, see if you can summarize it to integrate it into the new. I'll put it together in a sentence by starting with, in the past, I believed or I experienced. And then put your truth there. In the next paragraph, you would put, since then, I've learned. It's where you put some of the new learning or even just some of the circumstantial learning of how things were different than what you originally were taught or imagined. And the third paragraph is, in the future, I choose to believe, perceive, or aspire and set your intentions. The third paragraph is intended for you to set your intentions from your old learning to your new learning to a new life. And I'm going to send you a deep, big breath of gratitude and love. Receive it wherever you are. It means a lot to me that you're also on this journey to Shalom as I am. It renews my hope for the world, for our community, and for ourselves. That love and healing and community are possible. And I pray that the God of all things, above all things, in all things, and through all things, travel closely with you on this journey. That Shalom will be more and more evident. That you will turn towards it every time. Take good care.